Nice 360 digital closing bell. I am your humble correspondent, Michael Tanner, live on YouTube from an undisclosed location here in Denver, Colorado, on this finally beautiful Tuesday, May 12th, 2020. We got a great day. As always, I am joined by the purveyor of the show, the executive producer of the show, and the director and publisher of the world's greatest website, www.oilandgas360.com, Stuart Turley. Stu, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Michael. It's a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day. We've got a lot of stuff here, both on a one big thing. Stu's got some stuff from the international news desk. Saudi Aramco makes another rut-row. And then we will also get to the great digital ticker. A lot of red today, except for crude oil, which is something interesting to see. But first, I need to do a little shout out to the 360 Digital Closing Bell podcast. Please just subscribe to it. I promise you, there's no better way to stay up to date on everything when it comes to the energy finance market, both from a good and bad perspective. Those long-form shows drop Monday and Friday before the market opens, and we're also, as you mentioned, live on YouTube every day at 2 o'clock to bring to you our one big thing and an overview of the pricing. You also please follow the Energy 360 network, which is available on the world's greatest website, www.oilandgas360.com. It is the best place to stay update on all of their energy thought leadership. We are about ready to be teasing a really, really cool event that we are going to be putting on here soon. I'm excited. We have so much stuff coming up. Well, we just dropped Lucas Bio today. Who got dropped today?
You bet. Lucas Bio, and we had a wonderful discussion with John. He was very knowledgeable. And what is ESG green and has a tax deduction for 10 years?
That's hey, everyone's looking for tax deductions. And nowadays, you just sat down with Ajax too. You literally just got off that, and I hope that was an interesting discussion. That'll be coming up next week,
Yes.
Monday, Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, Wednesday, you and I are interviewing Inverus on Friday.
Yes, we've got a packed interview week lined up. I'm excited to get Inverness in the window. They just announced a really cool business automation software. We'll be sitting down with one of the executives there. But when we shift gears now into just sort of what happened in the market today, something rare. Everything's red except for front month crude oil, front month of the curve, and our oil field services contract. So just a wacky day for the markets. Everything else was down. SPY down 2%, 2870. NASDAQ down 1.7%, 9136. Dow Jones down 435 or 75 points. Actually dropped 300 points in the last 5 minutes of trading. It was really crazy to watch right before we went live here, down 1.89%. Crude oil, though, as I mentioned, up 6.5%. That's $1.57 to 25.71. That's just off the back of more production cuts by Saudi Arabia, as Stu will get to in the international news desk. Back half of the curve for crude oil, though, 32.63 on that 12-month strip, only down about 1.27%. So that, a back end of the curve getting hammered a little bit, especially with the good news in the front 12-month. Natural gas front side of the curve, $1.70 even. So not looking good for the hedge we have in our official, non-official fund. We are down big, and hopefully we'll not be seeing a margin call here soon. On that specific side of our portfolio, down 6.5%, like I said, to $1.70 even. 12-month strip, though, on natural gas, $2.80, down 1.4%. As you can see, that back half of that curve doing a little well. XOP, which is our E&P securities contract, down $1 even, or about 2% on its overall market value, 51.36. ROIH, as I mentioned, which are oil field services contract, up 0.5%, $108.67. So good to see for them. Stu, what do you got on? Oh, excuse me. I almost forgot our biggest winners and the losers today, mind you. Our biggest losers on the day, Grand Terra Energy, GTE, another great ticker symbol, down to 27 cents, 15% loss. And the Contura Energy, $3.19, down 16% on the day. And CRC, a Bakersfield company, down 32% to $1.64 on the upside. Those some good numbers. This is Atino Inc. up to $6.37. 8% move up. Northern Oil and Gas, 86 cents, are up 8.6%. And big mover on the day up to 53 cents, are gaining 23% market share. Chaparral Energy, ticker symbol CHAP. Stu, what do you got on the international news desk?
We got another one from Saudi Aramco. Their income dipped 16.6 billion for Q1. Michael, that's 16.6 billion for Q1. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to keep their dividend alive. How do you lose that much and still keep your dividend going?
Yeah,
Is that
I think a lot of it has to do with they downgrade their dividend. That's, I mean, last I looked, oil revenue was like 70% of Saudi Arabia's, overall. So the moment they start downgrading their dividend, that just is not going to look good for the overall economy when it comes to Saudi Arabia. So I don't necessarily expect that. So it is crazy to think about they're going to continue to burn cash just to keep up appearances when really what they need to be doing is saving cash. So that's an unbelievable story, and we continue to watch that. But really, as I mentioned, Chaparral Energy, biggest mover on the day. And what I want to highlight with them in my one big thing is how these quarter one earnings have actually been a little better than people have expected. Now, if you were on the call, the weekly energy tracker this morning with a shameless plug to Haynes and Boone, they're actually extending that series. So if you've missed season one of the weekly energy tracker, you can find that out on oilandgas360.com. I think it's a new link they'll be sending out. They're doing it through Zoom, thank goodness. If you're using Cisco WebEx to host conferences, come into the 21st century. We got other platforms we can use to live stream stuff for you. So if you're on Cisco WebEx right now and you'd like to move over to another platform, please give us a call, Intercom, MTR Intercom. We will set you up on the most modern platforms of all time. But you can get that new link from them. And really what they're going over is these businesses and what they mentioned. And what was actually mentioned on that was the fact that core, and it was mentioned by President Aaron Vandervoort, quarter one earnings have actually been better than expected, but what's really going to hurt is quarter two earnings. So if you look at companies and you're looking at possible bankruptcy candidates, don't look at quarter one right now. Really what I think is going to happen is you're going to wait till quarter two comes out, or as we get closer to quarter two, because a company specifically like Chaparral Energy, who you would expect pure shale player, you would expect these guys to get hit really hard, came out of quarter one very, very well, maintained a strong adjusted EBITDA, 47 or $40.7 million, despite a 19% in decrease in their total commodity basket in terms of what they're getting, which is considering the fact that they shut in all non-essential oil production to avoid exposure in these abnormally large prices. It's great to see. And these pure shale companies, especially like you're seeing Chaparral Energy, who doesn't necessarily have some of that tier one acreage, you're seeing them post really good Q1s. And I think the interesting thing to take away from that is watch out for quarter two. I think that's going to be the devastating quarter. And I think as we get closer to that date, which is, more middle, so I think we're going to see some of these more bankruptcies, but it's really nice to see smaller companies, specifically like Chaparral Energy, come out with a really strong earnings call, reflected. Obviously, the analysts thought, the traders thought the same thing, up 23% today, which is a really good something. And I think it's because people say, wow, companies were actually able to manage the initial part of this really well. They had a really, they specifically mentioned they had a really good hedge position where I think, part of what I want to start doing he was rolling out case studies on companies hedging, but they do have a really good job. They do a really good job with that front side, absorbing all this. So really, I think quarter two will be interesting, but it's great to see some of these smaller companies, as I mentioned, come through with really good quarter one earnings. It's the least that can happen at this point. Everyone's been tanked. And as we mentioned, it was great to see our oil field services index up. I don't know what that means for the people who continue to get laid off, but hey, we'll take any positive news that we can come and we hope we can continue to keep you guys informed on what's going on. Before we let you go, Stu, do we miss anything today?
No, I think you got it as always. Great job, Michael.
No problem. Well, with that, then we're going to go and let you guys get back to work and finish up your day. Thank you for checking out the 360 Digital Closing Bell. We'll see you guys tomorrow.